Hello, everybody, and good evening, and welcome to Let's Talk Benchrest with KY Rimfire and Hobbies. We got some good topics to cover tonight, and we're going to try to get through it all. But if we don't get through it, we'll break it up into a couple of sections. We're going to talk scopes tonight. A lot of different topics to cover when you're looking at scopes. Just power settings, your parallax, first focal plane, second focal plane, MOA in your scope base. Just that's just to name a few. But I'm not going to try to talk about all that by myself. I'm going to bring some guys out of the green room, and I'm going to let them help me with this discussion. So first up, we'll introduce Justin Lowe from Kentucky. And Justin, you can tell us a little bit about your week.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be with you tonight. Had a pretty good week this week so far. Weather's turned off a little cold today, but it's been pretty nice earlier in the week. You want to take a deep dive into scopes tonight? Hopefully, enlighten some people or bring up some topic about it that you didn't know. Hopefully, we all learn something from it. So,
Sure, I'm always learning. That's what this show's about. So,
if you're
uh,
not learning, you're dying.
yeah. So, up next, we got Hasbro
Hey,
from Hasbro's Hide. How are you, buddy?
hey guys, good evening. Good to be with you all tonight. I feel like a bit like Dorothy from Gone with the Wind today because it's like I took a day off work to go out and use my brand new shooting bench, and it's just howling back there in the woods. It's not safe probably to even be back there. So, oh well. I got other stuff to do, including messing with scopes today. So we're going to talk about that tonight too. Good to be with you.
I saw that new shooting bench you got. That thing is nice. Looks like it's well built.
There is a kid here 30 minutes from me that built that. He built it normal pressure treated for $250. He says, "Hey, for $25 more, put a composite decking top on it." It's like, yeah, I'm in. 200. I can't build it for that, so that was good.
Built ambidextrous too.
It is
Yep.
with gun racks. It's like I'll probably never use them, but gun racks.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
up next, we got another Kentucky boy, and that's George from Southern Rifle.
How's it going, man?
This evening, George.
A lot going on like everybody else, man. The wind is just keeping me from doing anything. I don't mind shooting in the wind, but man, wind like this, there just ain't no way.
No, wasting ammo.
It's an
Yep.
ammo.
Just like this. Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for being here, and we'll go ahead and call up the next person, which is over there at Minnesota Shooting Sports, and that's Mike. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing well, everyone. How about y'all?
Talk some scopes.
Yeah, I got a little bit of input. I'm kind of more curious to, hear what everybody else thinks as far as kind of their go-tos and whatnot. But uh, nothing really different here. It's Minnesota. You wait a day or two, and the weather drastically changes on you from one extreme to the other. And I did not make it out to the range like I was hoping to after last week's. Well, I did to shoot something, but not to do what I primarily wanted to do. So I'm hoping the weather's a little nicer this week and can do it. Because again, same thing, fighting the wind here right now.
I know the weather didn't keep you at bay. I've seen you shooting some
Yeah,
pretty rough stuff.
weather's just a state of mind, but the wind, yeah, you can't control that.
Well, up next is the man that helped me put all this together, and everybody I think should know him, and that is American Hillbilly.
Hey everybody, got me some helpers in here tonight. How y'all doing?
Hey,
You got girls want to say hi? No? Okay.
We can say hi. Good evening, ladies.
You ain't had to bake no cookies or get ice cream out or nothing like that.
Oh yeah, they've been eating and snacking all evening.
Popcorn right now. There you go. Grab you some popcorn and enjoy the show.
You betcha.
Hey, if they're selling Girl Scout cookies, I'm all in.
Like a box of Samoas.
Well, last but not least, we got a new face on the panel, but he's not a new face to the YouTube. He's got his own channel, and if you haven't seen his channel, you need to go over and check him out because he's got some very informative videos, and that is Rimfire Dave. Listen to us for the TV, so he's going to be a little delayed.
Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be here. It's a privilege to be on here with such great people. Can you hear me?
Yes. So, Dave, if you want to,
The
just
lag
go ahead.
time is terrible here.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lag trying to watch it on YouTube versus StreamYard. So, um, if you want to, tell us a little bit about yourself and give us a little bit of history since it's your first time here on the live.
Well, that's the retired old fella that likes to do a lot of shooting. I shoot ARA, Benchrest 100-yard, and so a lot of people were asking me different questions. So that's why I decided to put a two video together and try to help some of these younger shooters out. And then I started watching all you, and you're doing such a great job. So I wanted to be part of the great YouTube channel. So that's why I'm here.
Appreciate you being here, and we'll go ahead and we'll dive into the topic of scopes tonight. So, we'll just go around the room, and each one of you can speak on each topic. And I guess the first topic that we got is what is your favorite brand of scope? And it don't have to be one answer. It can be your top pick. So, then I'll let you go first.
Probably the scope I own the most of, brand wise, would probably be Leupold. From hunting scopes to target scopes. Have a lot of Vortex, some Nikons, but probably Leupold's my favorite brand. And Nerdals, of course, I have a lot of those.
Dave, your TV volume is giving a lot of feedback on the live where it's echoing. Your TV
There we go.
Yeah, that's better now.
All right,
Can you hear us
Hillbilly.
now,
What about you, Hillbilly? I'll let you pick from this picture here. You can pick out which one's your favorites.
Oh man, there's a lot of them on there. I mean, mostly grew up the Bushnell pulled, over the years. And you said the one with the Eagles? Yeah, Eagles are always good, aren't
they? Yeah. So, Hillbilly does a few scope reviews too. He's done some Monstrum reviews and some CV Life reviews, and he dabbles in a variety of scopes. So, Hasbro, what about you? What's your favorite scope? I see Hillbilly arcing up there.
Yeah, that's a really hard thing to say. I'd say in past I have one left, but that's Leupold. and it's an old scope. And you guys will know this. You guys are some age here. It's a 3 to 18 by 40 Leupold scope that I started my first F-class matches shooting, and it's still an amazing scope. That would be 35 years later. Still a great scope. But I moved into bigger magnification. So of late, for budget scopes, I've been reviewing these CV Lives. They're pretty good, but they're obviously very cheap. Probably my favorite overall is going to be Vortex and the Strike Eagle or Viper series. I have several of each one of those, or the Archon scopes. I have a couple Athlons, and they're good, but their glass isn't as good as what I see on these Archons. So I've been kind of gravitating to them just because they're more in the price range of what I want to spend for most of my rifles anyway.
You, George, what's your go-to scope?
Go-to. Now, bear in mind, George is a poor boy. Okay.
Yeah.
But my go-to is a Night Force. Got a Benchrest Night Force. And, after that, I would say the U-Nerdle that I use would be number 2 on that list. I mean, I've got got 4 target scopes. Got the Night Force. Got the Night Force. Everybody knows what they are. I usually keep it on the Panda. That's where you put the shiny ring. Got one of my recent favorites, and thanks to Walnut Steel for that, is the Bevlar Bausch and Lomb. And I fell in love with that one. Golly, that's a story in itself right there. And of course the U-Nerdle, that's 2 on the list. I mean, it's when you click it, it goes. It's the Ultra Varmint model, 24 power with a dot. And then just for average everyday use for target, Burris 832. That was one of the old ones with an inch tube. Can't be clear as it can be. All these scopes are really clear, and when you click them, they go. That's one of the main things. I ain't got no loyalty to any brand, but those are my picks, for target scope right now. I've got a couple more, just ain't got them laying. Got a Riton that I use and a 45.
So Dave sent me a text message, and he says, "Sorry, I could not hear. Maybe I can get the right equipment for another time." Yeah, Dave, that's fine. You can still join us in the side chat, and I know you got a lot of knowledge to share over there in that side chat. So, Mike, what about you? What's your favorite brand scope?
Well, as old Cyclops would say, or not say so much, I'm a Vortex fanboy. So I love Vortex products. I've had nothing but good luck with them. Starting off with the early 1 to 4 LVPO when I was still doing NRA high power type stuff, and I transitioned from iron sights to using up to a 4 power, scope on that, and that just transitioned into the Diamondback Tacticals when I first got into the PRS game, which took me down the road of multiple Strike Eagles, Venoms, a Razor Gen 3. I love Vortex, and the best thing about them is there's a lot of good things about them in my opinion, but one for me is that they are like literally a stone's throw over the Mississippi River from where I live. So if I do have issues, I can send stuff to them and have stuff back like in days and not wait a long time. So that's a plus for me. And I love their warranty. Like guys that I know that shoot them out here competitively say, if Vortex would, with their warranty, if they would, only, make socks and underwear, we'd be set for life.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to say I'm a fanboy, but I do have several Vortex products, um, and first got into 22 Benchrest shooting. Um, I to be alike, so I ended up with like four of one kind of scope. We'll talk about that a little later, but I like Vortex. I do. I've not had a problem with one. Their warranty is great. One of my favorite scopes I have is a 36 fixed power Leupold, and it's an older scope, but it's fine crosshair and it's perfect for rimfire shooting, like what I do. And then a Weaver T36 and a T34. I have one of each of those. They're really nice scopes. Um, I, I'm not going to say that I'm biased at all towards scopes because I got a Citron that I like. Um, to say I was a Unerdal fan, I'd be lying because I didn't know what a Unerdal was until I met that guy right there. And
All my fault.
the first match that I ever hosted, um, Justin and Bruce got out of the car and walked up with these two guns that had scopes on them almost as long as the gun. And I was like, I might as well just pack my stuff up and go home. And Justin is so down to earth. He's like, sit down here behind this gun, look through it, tell me what you think, see if you like it. And yeah, I immediately started shopping for one, and I bought one and put it on my 52. And I love a Unerdal scope. They're they're great for uh, precision shooting for sure. So moving on, we next we'll talk about. Do you have a preference in objective barrel size? So, are you okay with a 44, or do you have to have a 56? We'll just run around the room and talk about that. So, we'll Justin, we'll just start back with you.
Okay. So, the bigger the objective barrel you get, the higher rings you have to use because of, the clearance between the barrel and the scope. Depending on what we're doing, field of view, the target had to have a huge field of view. So, 44 is enough. There's no sense in having a 50 or 56 unless you're like long range hunting or, some kind of hunting situation, need more field of view. Sometimes field of view helps out maybe to see a wind flag or something through the scope. But for the most part, objective for Benchrest shooting doesn't matter as much to me.
How about you, Hillbilly?
Sorry. What was the question again? I'm sorry. I was a little distracted.
So, do you have a picky preference about objective barrel size on your scope, or does your scopes not have bells and whistles?
Yeah, I mean, it. I don't know. I like from Benchrest shooting, I like plenty of light and everything in there, and but it kind of, I guess, being a hunter too, it's a little bit different, in preference between it and the Benchrest shooting. But yeah, I like a decent size scope. They've got some light, a lot of light in there for the Benchrest shooting myself.
Yeah, and that's something that I didn't have in my list of topics here was tube diameter. So, like, one thing that'll help you with light is shooting a larger diameter tube, not necessarily a larger objective bail. So you see a lot of these new scopes coming out that's 34 millimeter tubes, and we used to shoot 3/4 inch tube scopes, and then you're fighting for light. But these newer scopes, You get that larger tube diameter, and it lets a lot of light in there. So there is a vast improvement in today's technology as far as letting light in. What about you, Hasbro? You got an objective bell preference, or
A lot of it depends on how well the scope is built. The quality of that scope. Like I said, I've got that Leupold is a 40 millimeter that is fantastic, but it's a 3 to 18, right? So your field of view isn't a big deal when you're down below 18, and then you can go on up. So that's not as big a deal. But generally, because I got into shooting NRL 22 and things like that the last few years, and I had been F class is not as big a deal to me if I have a really big field of view. That's not really the point. But in NRL and PRS shooting, it is. And so most of mine are now, they're at least 30 millimeter tubes with 50 millimeter objectives, but most are 56 objectives and 34 tubes. And the tubes are just for adjustment, right? Get too small a tube, you don't get the adjustment in your drop, your elevation and windage. So.
all right. Moving on. How about you, George?
I'm kind of like Justin. I mean, 56s are great, but you're going to have high rings, and sometimes that's just not the best thing. To me, it really doesn't matter. 40 to 56, is good with me.
You, Mike.
Uh, I don't have really a preference. I will say, lately, everything I have are 34 millimeter tubes with a 56 objective. But again, it's because I'm more into the PRS NRL game, and yeah, that elevation, 30-minute top rail, and then having the adjustability, and then the reticle to get you another 10 15 mils of hold over or whatever is super important. That bigger objective letting more light in helps with the aberration when you're looking at targets 1,000 yards away and further. So all that. But now, like if you're talking like truly like Benchrest, the best Benchrest scope I've got has got a 3/4 inch tube, and it's got the clearest glass. The glass is as clear as any of the modern stuff I've got, in my opinion. So, but
Yep.
yeah.
So I don't. Again, I don't really have a preference. As long as the scope's clear and I can see my target and I can hit my target, I'm good. But now I will tell you this: anything above a 50 millimeter bail, then I'm having to get into higher rings, and then I'm fighting with my cheek weld because my scope's setting so high that now I don't get the proper cheek weld. So then I'm having to look for a cheek riser or something to get my cheek weld proper on my gun. So I don't like to go above 50. You know, I, that would be my limit. Is 50 because that's where I'm comfortable at with my cheek weld and my scope height and all that. So, all right. So the next topic is first focal plane or second focal plane. Justin, I know your answer to this, so go ahead and tell us about it.
I don't understand why they make first focal plane scopes. Who knows? I'm a second focal plane guy. From long range, hunting, Benchrest, across the gamut, second focal plane. End of discussion.
You want to elaborate why?
Uh, well, I like consistent crosshairs. Um, I don't range find with the scope. I got a laser rangefinder for that. Also, strong advocate of MOA. Um, I'm not a mule guy. Those are common units. We're going to stick with minutes of angle. And For target scopes, I like 1/8" click too. That's maybe something we might not dive into, but for Benchrest, I like 1/8" minute if possible. You get finer scope movements. With Unerdals, the block spacing on it dictates the the click adjustment, and that's a whole nother can of worms. But um, the finer adjustment, the finer zero you could have. But I like second focals.
What about you, Hillbilly? Do you have a preference on first focal plane or second focal plane?
Yeah, I pretty much like the second focal point. I mean, most all the settings. I mean, I know there's a place for a first focal point, but yeah, most of what I'm doing, I most usually prefer a second focal point.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were having this discussion tonight. Me and Justin was at a trap meet together, and I think first focal plane has a place in like PRS and like where you're shooting different distances, and you need your holdovers and stuff to be precise. Because second focal plane, your holdovers are only good at max power, and so that would be one benefit to first focal plane is your crosshair grows and shrinks as you adjust, and your holdovers are correct.
It scales to the zoom to the
Yeah.
power.
Yep.
So that would be one advantage to first focal plane. Hasbro, you want to chime in on this?
Well, I'm one of the old guys in the room. One of. I'm not letting the rest of you off the hook, but I've been using second focal plane MOA for most of my life. And in the last 5 or 6 years, I started shooting mill and first focal plane, and I shoot both. And I don't know if it's just the way my brain is wired or because I'm an engineer and I have to do this all day long. I can switch between the two and not even think about it. I can just pick up the scope and go. But ranging is more challenging with second focal plane in competition. So Mike, I know, relates to this as well, but say you're shooting NRL and you're shooting 32 yards. The next time you're shooting 78, and then you're shooting 99 and back and forth. Your build outs don't change, right? And that's a big deal. So if you're holding over 2/10, it's 2/10, right? You don't have to worry about scale and things like that. And you can measure directly and go. And you can look at your impacts and make a quick change. So that's a big thing. Now, is it needed for most shooting? No. I can tell you my first focal planes were Athlon scopes, and I hated them because they get so thick when you're zoomed in all the way. It became annoying. There are better reticles out there that you can then, okay, if it's getting thick, you can use other attributes of the reticle to align yourself. And so that's okay. But some of the newer ones, I think, are a pretty good compromise. But with first, you have the opposite problem. When you zoom all the way out now, it gets really fine. And I'm able to deal with it with my vision, but I don't know for how long. When I get older, right, it may change.
So that's a good point right there. So, like, for me, I'm primarily a rimfire shooter, hence my name, Kentucky Rimfire. But for rimfire, a first focal plane scope, if you're at max power, the crosshair's thick. And if you're trying to cover that little 10 ring, then that crosshair may be too thick for you to see the actual 10 dot. It'll cover it up. So that's a disadvantage. So
that's pretty, to that point, Chad. That's probably why I like these arc and reticles that I've been getting lately, is because you have a single small little dot in the middle. And so when you're zoomed all the way in, you still have something small to reference. And so I do circle on circle and put the dot where I want it, right? So, but not all reticles are that way in first focal plane.
Well, George, what is your preference? First focal or second focal?
Man, I'm like a saloon door. I can swing either way. It don't matter to me. If second focal plane for sure makes it quicker because you can use your reticle to judge your distances. If you see your hit, you can use your reticle to, compensate there. You don't even have to click, which I freaking love. Other than that, I can go either way.
So I kind of forgot to watch the side chat there, and Vince Ratliff's like, "So that's where we're at, Vince. Sorry, I'm caught up now." Mike, what's your preference? And I know you do a lot of variable distance shooting. So
Yeah, it's first focal plane with a Christmas tree reticle, for all of those, the ability to not have to mess with my turrets, to be able to see my splash in the dirt and then just see where it is on that reticle and know that that's true at any distance, and then just put where that mark was on the target and then hit it with the next round. So that's why, and it took a lot of convincing for me, like, anything, the getting away from MOA. I mean, I've got this Strike Eagle scope in MOA that hasn't been on a rifle in years because I got away from it. I just don't want to, I've got my brain trained for something else now, and
just showed up. He don't want to see no vortex on here.
He just got blacked, kicked off the channel.
well, tell him to look through a vortex with the other eye. Maybe it'll be a little bit better.
Oh, so for rimfire shooting, Benchrest shooting, I prefer a second focal plane, and that's just because I can keep the crosshair small, and I can shoot that fine dot. But I do see the need for a first focal plane if you're going to shoot PRS or NRL, or where you're shooting different distances. I do see that advantage. So next, we'll go back around the room and just real quick. Do you prefer these modern scopes, or would you rather pick up a vintage scope? And Justin, we'll start with you again.
Okay. So it depends on the rifle. If it's an old rifle that, period correct, it should have an older vintage scope, then, that's how I roll. So even with hunting rifles, whatever, if it's a pre-64 Winchester, it has to have a scope, period correct. If it's a new rifle, put something new on it. Even down to the scope rings, bases, whatever. I'm a stickler for keeping things period correct. But
Yeah,
I like the old stuff, and I like the new stuff too. The old Unertals, they don't have a coated lens, they're not gas filled, so light change conditions throw you a curveball sometimes right during the middle of a match. That's really their weaknesses, is not being a coated lens. But I like it all.
There's a Michael Stewart. He's from our local range, and yeah, he's got a big golden eagle. I've shot through it. It's that's a nice scope.
Nobody knows him by Michael Stewart. That's Hollywood.
Calls him Hollywood. So Billy, what about you? You like the modern stuff, or you like a vintage scope?
Oh man, I mean, there's definitely pluses to both of them. I've had some older scopes, nothing, like what some of you guys have, but they just had some good glass on them and stuff. But then again, there's a lot that comes with some of the newer stuff too. Some good benefits and everything. So you know, yeah, I'm about 50-50 on them, I guess.
Yep. Got B Fox 87 in the side chat too. He's another one that was doing a lot of challenge target shooting when I got started into this, and he's had to go away for a little while. Had some changes happen in his life, but I can't wait to see him back out there making some targets and shooting. He's got a couple of nice 22 rifles. There's Chris Lang in the side chat too. Hey, buddy.
Chris?
Hasbro, what's your preference?
I have some older scopes for sure, and I only keep old scopes if they're period correct to the gun and they're good. Okay. Or at least okay, right? If they're really not very good, they'll come off. I keep them around, but they'll come off. But if I had to choose, I'll choose more modern scopes just because of the features. Once you use some turrets and things on a modern rifle and use a modern reticle and all that, it's like, yeah, it's awful hard to go back. But there is something to be said for just simple, like on the Leupold I mentioned, simple, straight crosshairs with a very fine center. When you're shooting targets, there's nothing better to keep it simple, right? And I don't mind that.
Yep, Vincent Rogers says modern all day long, and I get that. I just my style shooting, that super fine crosshair in those older scopes, it's perfect for 22 50-yard Benchrest shooting. So, George, you just showed us some scopes, and I think you had a variety of vintage and modern. So
Yeah, I'm again, man. That saloon door, I go both ways. I like, modern scopes for sure, but man, there's just something about the flavor of these older scopes, like that Bevel R or that Unerdle. Man, they just look cool.
the question that's popped up, if somebody wants to chime in and answer, is what is ED glass?
Just hit and return. Extra low dispersion.
Extra low dispersion. Yep.
My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's supposed to help with chromatic aberrations, right? That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I know that you don't put a modern scope on those old Stevens rifles.
No, I don't, and I love them both, and they both have a place, and I dabble in both. I've got. Uh, I wish I would have pulled them off because it wouldn't have been a big deal. But like, I've got a little. I think it's a 6 power Bushnell banner that I've shot some of my vintage 22 targets with, and shot some people's challenge. And that thing's it's an amazing little scope. I don't know, based off the serial number, but it's 60s, black Bushnell banner, waterproof, whatever else on it. I got a little 1.5 power Cub Weaver that's on another one of the vintage rifles I got that has got really fine crosshairs, and that thing performs really good. So I like the old stuff. You know, I've got a 10 power Inertal, with the 3/4 inch tube that Nibs helped me to decode the serial number and find out how period correct it is for my Stevens 416, and it's like within 2 years of when my rifle was made. So that scope's from like 38, and then I've got this Redfield 3200 that is more period correct for when I'm shooting my Anschutzes. So this is more late 60s, early 70s. So I like having the appropriate glass on, and like I'm not sure who it was that said it here prior. I think you actually did, Chad. The super fine crosshairs in these, oh my God, it's wonderful to look at that. It's like looking at a first focal plane that is down at like 4 power or something. It's tiny. You almost can't see the dang things. So
Yep. So I got a 3200 on my Ismash CM2. I like it a whole lot.
yeah.
So my power, I guess what I was looking for, well, it's the next question. Anyways, I'm jumping ahead. Um, if you watch my channel, you know I have a whole variety of scopes. I got anything from the old Tascos with Japanese glass, the Luopo, the Weaver, um, Unerdal, 3200. I got Vortexes, Arkans. I mean, Discovery Optics. I've tried just about everything. So, and I really don't have a preference. It just I like for my rifles to be period correct. So, like my new BMRX, I'm not going to stick an old vintage scope on it. Of course I'm going to have a modern scope. So, just depends on what gun I'm shooting. So, next topic, which is going to be your ideal power for Benchrest shooting, and this could be 22 or centerfire. And guys in the side chat, keep in mind we're not just talking 22s. We're talking centerfire. So if something comes up you want to ask, be sure to put it down. I'll go first for me on this one. For Benchrest 22 shooting, I don't like anything less than a 20 power. 18 is just not enough for me. Maybe somebody a little younger than me can do it with an 18, and I have shot with an 18, but I can't stack rounds on top of rounds with an 18. I'm just not that precise with it. So it needs to be a 20 power or above for me. So, Justin?
So definitely a 20 power or above. 20 power Unerdal with fine crosshair at 50-yard targets like we shoot. I think it's ideal. Of course, a fixed 24 would definitely be better. 36 is optimal. I love my 36 fixed Leupold. You start getting over 36 and you start picking up Mirage and just your heartbeat. If you're making cheek weld with the scope, it starts getting a little squirrelier. So, 36 is about the max for the 50-yard. You start getting up in the 40s and stuff like that, you lose clarity on glass, and you start picking up on every little minute, movement with the rifle.
Hillbilly, what's your go-to power range for scopes? And remember, this is for Benchrest. It's not for your hunting rifle.
Yeah, man, like I said, 24, 25 and up, definitely. Otherwise I just can't see good enough to get in there on, Benchrest, especially shooting a lot of those small targets and everything. It just definitely need that. And, probably stronger than that even. I've not got one that's, I don't have a 36. So, I don't know if that would be better for me or not, but I'll definitely be getting one to try it. So, but yeah, I definitely need at least, 24, 25 or up.
You Hasbro.
Yeah, sorry. I'm totally distracted. Joe, cut it out.
Joe, he's got the side chat rolling.
He's killing me.
There.
He's having me crack up too.
I all of my scopes, well, I should say all the ones I shoot regularly, stop at 18 or 24. I have one that goes to 35. And it is only used there when conditions allow, because even at 24, in the summertime, you get a lot of mirage, and it's hard to use. So now I find myself back in the 18 to 20 range again and dealing with it there. So do you need more than 24? If the conditions allow, I'll take it every time from a bench. Offhand, I can't hold it. So where I am with them.
George, what's your take on the
I'll
power?
take all I can get. It's a 42 fire right there. if I could afford it, I'd have one of them March 80 parts.
You say
The more power you got, the finer you can see, the finer you can hold, the better you will shoot. Now, that said, it's like everybody's saying here, when Mirage starts, that variable power, you can roll it back and kind of get out of the Mirage a little bit. That'll help both.
Sit there and watch your
get.
sit there and watch your heartbeat and everything.
I noticed. I was watching your video. You shooting them the red targets, shooting the BRX or whatever the hell you call it. You could see your heartbeat.
Scope cam, yeah, you saw it. Yep, that's what I think it was. Chris, I think it was Chris Lang. He goes, "Is that your heartbeat I'm seeing?" In it, like, yep, that's it. So it captured it on video through the scope mate. So, Mike, what's your ideal power for Benchrest shooting?
Same as what everybody said. I struggle with maxing out the zoom out to 25 or 36, like on the vortexes I've got. So I tend to back off. I find my sweet spot where I can just get comfortable on anything is between 16 and 18, and I usually just set it there and set it and try to forget it. But there are times that it's like if everything's working right, where it's like, okay, I got to get in a little bit tighter, but um, I don't like over magnification for all those reasons. But especially if I forget to take my blood pressure pill that morning, or whatever, it's just it's not a good start to a day. So
Okay, so the next topic that I had written down was, do you like adjustable power or fixed? And I think we've touched on that a couple of times here. So uh, I think I've heard all of you say that if your power's too high, you like to tone it back just a little bit to get rid of the mirage or the heartbeat or whatever. So uh, I don't know if that's worth going around the room for. I do have some fixed power scopes, and I find that when I shoot Benchrest, um, however I got that scope set up, that's the way I tend to leave it. So, like if I got it rolled around to 24 power, that's where I shoot it through the whole match. I don't mess with it. So, um, the next topic coming up for Benchrest shooting would be your reticle style. What style reticle do you and I have some photos here. I'm going to overlay some photos here. Just there's some examples of some of the Leupold reticles. And of course, I'm a fine crosshair guy for rimfire shooting. And then here's also some other examples, which has a Christmas tree in there. And I know Mike said that he's a fan of a Christmas tree. So, Justin, what's your favorite reticle style for Benchrest shooting?
For Benchrest, I like a fine crosshair. You can have like a CDX dot. That's fine. Just so it matches up with maybe the 10 ring or X ring of the target. Um, I like Christmas tree reticles in the vortex, like the EBR4 reticle for long range shooting. I have several Vipers, and I love that reticle. But for Benchrest, I like simple's better, I think, and I like just a fine crosshair. And a CDX dot's fine. The the Unerdal fine crosshairs um, are perfect for our Benchrest game.
Hillbilly, what type of reticle do you prefer for Benchrest shooting?
Definitely the crosshairs. I don't know what what brand or what style it's called, but where the crosshairs are thicker, a little thicker on the outside, and they go to a fine in the center. For Benchrest, I think that I like that real well.
It's a duplex, maybe.
Yeah, heavy duplex, or even if it backs off a little bit, a wide duplex, probably even. And I mean, most of mine's illuminated duplex, so that kind of helps out. So, oh man, so. And I do shoot depending on the color of the target. There's a lot of times I'll turn my illumination on because, you know, the way it's printed out, I can't see my crosshair very good, so I'll turn my illumination on.
Hasbro had the scope sitting there that he's giving away tonight. Oh, all right, Hasbro, what's your favorite reticle style for Benchrest shooting?
Oh, sorry. I was going to give that away right after you send me your Winchester 52. Is that good?
Okay.
I'm in. Okay.
Yeah.
I tend to shoot. I shoot both. Like I say, for pure Benchrest, a simple crosshair is and fine is probably preferred, but it depends on the range, right? If you're going to fight wind, and I'd still rather have subtensions. I've been generally shooting, like, if you guys know the VPR reticles, where you have really fine dot subtensions, so they're not really annoying, and yet you still have the center dot that we were talking about before. When you zoom all the way in with the first focal point scope, you can still put the dot where you really need to hit it. So I've been kind of liking those lately, but I guess for me to say one or the other, I shoot them all, and I just adapt.
So Eagle Eyes made a valid point. We got 35 people viewing on here, so I encourage you to go over and smash that like button. And Tommy Boy says I need to get Eagle Eye on here. So Tommy Boy, I have a list right here that I compiled when Hillbilly first started talking to me about doing this, and I have a list to the side here for guests, and you can believe that Kenny is in that. So in the future, I wanted to get my feet wet here first, but I do want to start inviting people like Kenny and Cyclops Joe, and there's some others that I have listed down here. So that's future plans, is to try to have some special guests. So we'll try to make that happen for you. And Mike Stewart says it all depends on the applications. For the benches, he likes simple. So, do you want to elaborate on that topic any at all? Your reticle preference? Or?
Who's up, George?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine crosshair or fine crosshair with a dot. And the Night Force, I don't know if y'all be able to see it or not. It has
reticle? Oh, yeah.
It has two dots.
Mm-hmm.
One below the other. They're floating dots. And I love that. That's really way to go. But it's got one dot. It's an eighth dot, and then another dot below that, which is 5 inches at 100 yards. And it's a 16th dot. It's friggin' great. I like them. The finer, the better. Fine dots, fine crosshair. I mean, strictly for Benchrest, not nothing else. But fine crosshair, fine dots. The Unerdle I got has a quarter dot and fine crosshair, which is just a little big. I wished it was an 8, but I think it's cool.
What about you, Mike?
Again, if it's a vintage or a Benchrest gun, a super fine crosshair, in a fixed power. If it's shooting like challenge targets, or even like when I'm just out screwing around shooting, or looking at trying to get groups on an ARA style target or something, doing ammo testing with a modern rifle, I like having that Christmas tree. My favorite reticle's the EBR-7C from Vortex. That's why I stick with their Venom rifle scopes, Strike Eagles, and the Razor to stay with a reticle pattern that I'm used to. But again, with that reticle, the same things I can apply at looking for my splashes in the dirt at 1,000 yards, I can do the same thing just without even thinking about it. My brain just can look at it and go, "You're half a mil off on whatever," and either hold for it or make the correction on the scope. It's how my brain works. It's how I've trained my brain to work. So I got to think about minutes of angle and how many yards things are now.
So, what about MOA or meal? Your preference there, and if you don't care, just elaborate a little bit. Justin, which I know you said you're MOA all the way, so you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
I just like MOA. All the units that I use from day to day is pretty well standard, inch measurements. So my brain thinks MOA. If I'm ever dealt with metric units in my line of work, immediately I convert them to standard, to be able to comprehend them. But I just like MOA. It's what I've shot, what I've been used to.
Hillbilly?
I'm MOA. I shoot with a buddy, and he won't shoot anything but mill. That's just his preference. But yeah, I'm just used to MOA, so that's pretty much what I stick with.
Hasbro?
Yeah, I'm sort of like Justin. My brain is wired in MOA, but because I've been shooting in competition, I don't know what it is about me. It's like I'm screwed up in the head. I can just switch to mill. I don't really think about it. I just use it as a different reference system, and I can adjust for it. But it is something to think about because it's drilled in my head. It's a 1/4 inch at 100 yard, and you just multiply, and you can do it quickly. But I really haven't had a problem shooting either. If I was going to buy something brand new for non-competitive shooting, I'll probably still buy MOA. But other than that, if I'm going to shoot anything in competition, it'll be mill. And a lot of that is because, by the way, if you're shooting in competition and you're shooting with a partner, or you'll hear other people, "Oh yeah, that was 3 mils off, or the wind is, 0.3 to the right, whatever." It's good feedback. You don't have to get a calculator out.
Yeah.
That's I can shoot either one. I can shoot mill or MOA, but it when you get into a spotter that's MOA and you're used to mill, and he's calling off euros off so many MOA, and you're sitting there thinking, how's that calculated? It can get confusing.
Yep.
So George, what would be your preference, MOA or mill?
MOA all day, every day. You can hold finer. Your clicks are finer with a MOA. That's just fact. You can shoot tighter groups with MOA.
He did say MOA all the way, so finally we found a topic where his door don't swing both ways.
There you go. That's right.
It's hard on MOA.
Mike?
And my brain I've converted to the MRAD system. I get it. Shooting, KD courses, 2, 3, 5, 600 yard known distance courses. It's easier in MOA because the size of an F class mid-range 6, the 10 or the X ring's 3 inches on it, so it's easy to do that at that distance. What that quarter-inch adjustment is doing to everything. But at unknown distances, which is really the game I'm into now, that doesn't do you any good. And actually, you can get more precision out of MRADs because there's more units of measurement in a mil. A circle in degrees is 360. There are 6,400 mil radians in a circle. So it's, a smaller, it's why you get more elevation in an MRAD system and more flexibility in your elevation and your turrets with mil radians. So I mean, and not that one is any better than the other. It's just what the application is really what it comes down to. So for me, it's mil radian because that's what I'm into now. 3 years from now, I might be, hey, I'm done with this, bending over and breaking my back and having to get up and down and run to places and stuff like that. And I might be doing something different, But for right now, I'm into the mil game.
All right, guys. So I just about forgot the side chat. I've got a banner going across the bottom here. If you want to type scope into the side chat, we will get someone to call your name out here live. So when you talking about parallax or focus, some people call it. I know. I wish Rimfire Dave could have stayed on because he has a video that elaborates on this just a little bit. But I know he prefers his parallax to be out on the objective bell because he can make finer adjustments. And I've noticed that also on scopes that I have that are adjusted on the bell. I can get a finer tune off the bell than I can a side adjustment. And I noticed that George's Night Force also has the parallax out on the bell. So, Justin, where do you prefer your focus to be, bell or side focus?
So for Benchrest, definitely on the bell. You know, from shooting prone position or whatever, side focus is probably easier to get to, but it's definitely not as fine of an adjustment. Um, on the bell, it's finer, as you've mentioned. Um, but you may have to stand up and reach over and adjust it, or really reach to get to it. Um, Side focus is more user friendly from changing it on the fly quickly, but I prefer it on the objective lens of the scope.
Hillbilly, do you prefer your parallax to be on the side of the scope or out on the bell?
He's in talking timeout.
Spend time out. He's not going to answer me.
Is he muted?
That big child backer is that?
Have us muted? I don't know.
He's back, but he must not be able to hear us.
His earpiece went dead or something.
You can't hear us.
Saying. Paying me back for going to sleep on his live the other night. He had his VIP chat and I fell asleep. Hasbro.
Yes, sir.
Side focus or bell focus?
Oh, I have both. Honestly, it's just like you said, the bell focus, you can get a much finer tune in that. Some of the better scopes are really good on the side, but to me, it's just not as good as the bell. don't have that resolution, right? So, but that said, almost all of mine, not quite, almost, are on the side.
Vincent Rogers, that is our goal, is to help you guys, and also you guys help us. I mean, interaction in a side chat may teach us something that we didn't know, and all these guys here that I've chose to be on this panel, it's because I value their knowledge, and I expect to gain knowledge from these people, and that's the goal of this show, is to, we're none of us are saying that we're right, and we're professionals. We're just sharing our experiences, and we're learning from each other. So that pleases me that you feel like you've had some takeaways from tonight's show. George, what's your preference, side focus or objective bell focus?
I'll take the objective focus all day long. I mean, look how pretty that is. Look how slick that is. It ain't a big dog knot hanging off the side of your damn scope.
Look at him.
I'm like, I mean, they got their place for sure. Like if you was doing PRS or something like that. Here, let me see. Here, you want to show close up? Look how pretty. Look how pretty it is.
Rings, man. True.
If you was doing PRS or something like that where you needed to, that big dog knot hanging off there was just fine. But any other time, right out on the objective, brother.
Mike, do you have a preference?
I really don't. I mean, it's obvious, for quick movements, it's easier on the side, but yeah, for sure. I wish even the highest end scope I had, I wish I could get the side parallax to give me the sharpness that a 100-year-old Unertl will give me. If I take the time to get up off of it, but it's, you're breaking your position every time you do that. But again, that game, I know what it's going to be. I get it set to it for that day at the range, and I'm good. I don't got to touch it again all day long. But yeah, I just absolutely, I don't know if you can see it or whatever, but I love the way this thing parallaxes down. This old Inertal, it's my favorite scope. It truly is. I wish I could mount it to a modern PRS gun.
So Tommy Boy had a comment there that said iBox, and I think he's asking us to talk about iBox, and
yeah.
I would lying if I said I knew what I was talking about when it comes to iBox. I know when it's not working for me. Do one of you guys want to elaborate on iBox?
I can touch it a little bit and then pass it on. But typically, the lower power a scope is, the more forgiving with iBox. When you start getting into real high magnification, like over 36, you're going to sacrifice iBox for, to be able to see through it. So the higher end stuff like 40s and 50s and even 80s, you're going to lose iBox. But we'll let Hasbro fill you in on a little more there, maybe.
Before you do, George, Cyclops Joe wants to know what that scope is that you keep showing off there.
It's Vortex. It's a night force. Ain't it pretty?
That was awesome. Yeah. You just made him vomit in his mouth just a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, Hasbro, how about you?
Yes, sir.
How about you, buddy? You got something?
Well, I put this. I put this scope back up here for that reason. A lot of the scopes that are mid-range or even low to mid-range, like these Arkans and all, when you're zoomed all the way in, the eye box is really small. Okay, more so than better scopes. Now, I can deal with it, but like Mike was saying there, especially when you're moving and you have to set up and change, that becomes a real problem. I've been able to deal with it, but what killed me was when I have to shoot weak side. I could not get on target with that scope zoomed in with the smaller eye box. I had to back it out to like 10, 12 power. And that's fine, but it was one thing I didn't think of during that particular match, and it cost me. So eye box matters really as far as getting onto your target, and then you can zoom in. But if you're not moving so much, maybe it's not such a big deal.
So John Fox has joined us, and he's a fellow Kentuckian, and he's just put up his first video on YouTube. So you guys don't care, go over there and check him out. He's going to give it a shot and try to start putting some shooting videos up. But his first video is just a little bit of an introduction about himself and what style shooting and stuff he likes to do. And go over there and check out John Fox and give him a like and subscribe. Hasbro, not Hasbro. I'm sorry, George. You got anything you want to add to the iBox topic?
Well, I'm gonna show it again at night, folks.
Here it comes.
A good quality scope, you will not have eye box problems. Now, for the money, 100%, I'll go Arkin all day. But man, when you turn up the power on them, that eye box just goes away, and you really have to have your head positioned right. And even the Bausch and Lomb, the Unerdal, even they both have great eye boxes, and they're relatively high power. But it just, today's scopes, I don't know why they have to sacrifice so much on the eye box. I really don't.
So that's what Tommy Boy's saying. Some scope makers are better at making the eye box more forgiving to sight alignment, and some are terrible. Yeah, so I think it's a combination of things, though. I think it's their glass and materials that they use. It's just it's hard to find a budget, what I would call a budget scope, that has the best of everything. Like if you're spending big money on a scope, then you can expect to have good quality down every avenue. But seems like, with these $400 and $500 scopes, $600 scopes, there's always some little something that's lacking. I mean, is it tolerable? Yes. I have an Arkin, and Arkin, they're really great scopes. When you get into that taller power, though, you do have a little bit of struggle with the eye box. Same thing with the my Mueller. I have a Mueller scope. It's a 40 by 56 fixed power. I can see the target just fine, but it has a little bit of cloudiness to as far as the power and seeing down range and seeing what you're hitting. It's awesome, but the glass in it is just a little hazy. So like you always sacrifice some little something on those lower end scopes that you're getting for a better dollar. There's some sacrifice. So Mike, do you have anything you want to add on the iBox?
No, it's all been said.
Yep.
A couple people have said the Arkans. When I first got my SH4, I thought that was gonna, like, super impressed, be all end all, and then I shot a match with it and I took it off the rifle because of the unforgiving eye box on it. So,
All right. Well, we're going to take a pause right here, and Hillbilly, if you don't care, will you call off the side chat? We had several that typed scope in there.
You betcha. Sorry, fellers. We had to start the computer. I think it's because was used to my ugly mug and get these good looking girls on here and didn't know what to do. So
That would explain it. Yeah.
no doubt. So what
So
do you want to type in, Chad?
They've already typed in scope, but I kind of got we was going to finish this topic up and then call them out. So were you
Okay.
restarted? Did you lose
No,
all that?
I can go back up and find them. I think.
Okay.
Hopefully, I don't miss anybody.
Call it out.
See. So first one we had up was Vince Ratliff, Tommy Boy, Hasbro, TJ Fishing, Alaska one, Andy. Living in West Virginia, I believe. Is that one? B Fox, Michael 47, Vincent Rogers, Tommy 22. Let's scroll on down here, see if I see any more scopes. If I missed you, I sure apologize, people. Trying to find everybody. Huh? Oh, we got Fuku White. You want to say that name? No. Fuku White. You're not going to try that, huh? I don't believe it. We can just say Boomstick.
Good night, Boom. Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Good night, buddy.
Yeah.
And I believe that's everybody. If I missed you, please go ahead and type scope in there again, and I'll sure shout you out on the internets.
Sorry about that. I was relying on you to call them out, and you signed out to restart, and we got behind there. So
we also got Mr. Bob Dabalina. His Ames likes to say it, and we got Ron 2A Matters out there.
To Chad Kelly, thanks for joining us.
Okay, Chad Kelly, and then some of the ones I see, Cyclops Joe was in here a while ago, and a few others. We got John Fox out there. There's a lot of people that doesn't type in their deals.
Joe might have left. I think George made him mad, but telling him he was showing him a vortex. Guys, the next thing that I had wrote down here is if you're a Benchrest shooter and you got multiple rifles, do you try to set them up all the same with the same scope, so you're looking at the same glass, same reticle on every scope? And you can add to this a little bit. Are you one to leave a scope on a rifle once you get it set, or will you change that scope and put it on something else and give it a try? So like I'll go first. If I got a gun set and it's shooting good, for instance, that Bagar BMRX I've been shooting, I'm not going to change that scope as long as it's shooting as good as it is. That's just me. I know Justin over here, he's different, but if the scope comes off of that gun, it's probably because it's leaving here, so but I think I said this earlier when we started the live. When I first got into Benchrest 22 shooting, my ideal thinking was I got 4 rifles and I want all 4 of my scopes to be the same. That way, no matter what gun I sit down behind, I'm looking through the same scope, same glass, same reticle, and it all looks the same to me. And I tried that, but I found that it really didn't matter to me after I got comfortable in Benchrest shooting. I can pretty much sit down behind anything and go with it. So, Justin, what about you? Are you
Well, in a perfect world, if I had unlimited resources, I'd have a scope for every rifle. But seems like I have more rifles than I do scopes here lately.
Your head for every rifle?
No, I got some that's not wearing glass right now. We got the rifle buying spree this winter. So, we do a lot of switcheroo here at my house. One thing I never do is sell a scope. If I have a real good scope, it's forever homeless here. And, you can always replace a rifle, but the scope always hang on to it. For that very reason, you'll end up with more rifles than you have scopes if you sell scopes. But I do, I may get something out, shoot it for a while, and swap out glass. Maybe put it back in the safe, shoot something else. You can only shoot one gun at a time, basically. So, you don't have to have a scope for every single one.
Hillbilly, how about you? If you had
Oh man,
multiple rifles, would you set them up all the same, or right?
on what I'll use the same scope on every rifle. I guess if I had a good scope, I don't like to take scopes off if it works good for that rifle, and I prefer to leave it on there, sighted in. That way, I don't have to go back and sight it in again.
So
I have some rifles that's had the same scope on them for years.
So let me elaborate a little bit about where this question came from in my mind. I got a 52A. Everybody's seen it. It's got a universal scope on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hammer. Okay. I also have iron sights for that gun, but I have yet to take the scope off and try it iron sights because I don't want to mess with that scope it's on. Justin, on the other hand, at every match he enters his 52 in the scope class that it falls in, and he also enters it in the open sight class. And sometimes he enters it in the unlimited class. So he'll shoot that same rifle in 3 classes, and he'll jerk the scope on and off at a match.
And sights.
And sights, and do a quick zero, and I'm just not comfortable doing all that.
That's what you call a real man.
Don't make it hands well. Well, I guess I'm more of a having a dedicated rifle to open sights, and a dedicated rifle to this precision class, and a dedicated rifle to the unlimited class. So, but Justin takes one rifle and enters 3 classes and does good. He does really good. So that's where this question came about. So we'll move on to you, Hasbro, and you can give your take on that.
If I had Mike's money, Razor HDs on every one of them. No, I do like to keep the same reticle on my competition guns, and I've done that because the 3 I mainly shoot in competition are all Arkans at the moment, and they all have the same reticle. But what is annoying is the SH4 Gen 2 on one of those is 8 clicks, right? And the other's 10 for Revolution, right? And so it's not a big deal the way I shoot it because I use, what is that thing? It's X-Ring sells a little board that flips forward. I write down all my clicks and everything on there. And so I just look and I go, it's no big deal. But if you were just going by feel and sound, it would be a problem. So yeah, unlimited funds. Yeah, I put one scope on everything. It'd have to be a really good scope.
BB guns and all have razors.
They would. If I'm Bill Gates or Elon or whatever, yeah, you better believe I'd have a 1984 Red Ryder with a Vortex Razor HD, or maybe a Sikorsky. We'll go big then if I got that money, right?
Yeah, so Kenny at Eagle Eye Precision says Night Force Competition CTR-2 is what he's using, and he prefers something that is just simple, 0.6 to 0.8 MOA center dot, vector optics 10 to 40 for a budget. And I have been looking at those vector optics, and I'm glad you said that because that might just trigger me to check one out. So I have been looking at those. And then Vincent Rogers says, why would you change the scope off of a gun you've already spent all that time and ammo to sight in and take it off? I agree with you, Vincent. I agree with you 100%. But people like Justin, they can do it because Justin's very good at doing one shot zeros or two shot zeros.
shots. Every
Yeah,
now and then one.
yeah. So he's pretty good at re-zeroing his rifle within two shots. So he can do that, but not me. I don't want to fool with that. So George, what about you? You going to shoot
Well,
same scope and switch it around, or do you set it up and leave it right where it's at? And obviously, you don't leave it where it's at because it looks like you got all your scopes laying on the table right now.
well, my door swings both ways. Uh, but I want to reiterate, George is a poor boy. He does a
Much
lot of
into
scope swing. So yeah, it depends. The only scope that I leave, well, I got two of them. Both of them are my varmint rifle. The 6284 40X I got leaning up against the door in there. It's got a Riton on it. It don't ever come off unless I'm changing barrels or something. But everything else, yeah, I swap it around. And you will be damn surprised at taking that U-nurdle off and putting it back on. Buddy, she's right there.
dead on.
That Val Shalom is the same way. I don't know, it seems like all the barrel mounted ones like that with the U-nurdle type mounts, but they just hold zero.
Yep, right back.
Yep.
That's you, Mike.
Uh, all of my modern rifles, once I get a scope dialed on it, I leave those scopes on, which is why, again, the Vortex and the EBR7C reticle, I can span like 3 or 4 of their models that have that at various price points from 400 to $3,600. So I wish I had enough money to have razors on everything, but you know, and the only reason quite honestly, I even ever went to that, I said I would never need a scope better, than like the Strike Eagle in that tier anyway. But I don't know if I think I shared it with y'all at one point in the past year, but a few years back, I thought I was going to lose my eyesight in my dominant eye, and I took a major shift in my vision in my dominant eye, and I went from 2015 to 2040 vision in that eye. So to make up for it, I had to compensate because Strike Eagle glass just wasn't good enough anymore. So that's the only reason I went out and bought a razor. And 2 years later, with some treatments, my vision's gotten better, and now I've got a more glass than I probably really need. But it was a compensation thing at the time. I really didn't want to spend that much money on glass, but.
Kenny says he's here to learn from us. Benchrest is new to him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The man has used more ammo than us all combined.
Oh, goodness. For those of you in the side chat that don't know, Kenny's a rifle builder. He knows all about Benchrest. He built some nice rifles. Guys, I had one more topic on the email that I sent out to y'all, but I think we're going to skip that. We've already hit our hour and a half mark. And the topic was, do you use rings or cantilever mounts to mount your scopes, and also do you use a scope base that has MOA built into it? And that we could talk for another 30 minutes on the advantages of having MOA in the base or whatever. So I'm going to leave those topics alone. I'm going to open it up to basically open discussion. If you guys got anything you want to add about tonight's conversation as we go around the room, please feel free to add that, and then tell us what you got going on, what you got coming up. I know Mike's answer is that if you want to know what's coming up, watch the channel. And guys, everybody on here has a channel except for Justin. If you want to see Justin, you'll just have to watch my channel because he does make an appearance on there quite often. And I appreciate everybody being on here tonight and sharing their knowledge. And Mike, we'll start with you, and we'll just go back around the room and we can do our little outros here and tell everybody what you got going on.
I The biggest thing I got going on is I really need to get out this weekend and shoot my intro video and my the video to promote my long gong match that I'm holding here this May 18th here in Minnesota. It'll be the first 300 plus yard long gong match that I'm aware of that anybody's done with rimfire here in the state. Going to be limiting it to 30 shooters. I put something together on Practice Score, but I've decided I am not going to let people sign up through the Practice Score app. They're going to have to come to my website and sign up, because that will fuel the person who's putting this on and footing the bill to do it all. So, but that's the biggest thing I got going on. I'm hoping to get a good turnout for that, and trying to grow some long range shooting with rimfires here in the state. Something just a twist on something more than NRL 22 or ELR 22 offers. So.
Kenny, I appreciate that right there, man. He says if you're a match director, please reach out to the shop. He'd be happy to help donate. So I am the match director here in Eastern Kentucky. We shoot USBR targets, and our first match is actually this Sunday. It was supposed to have been last Saturday, but it got postponed because of weather. So our season is kicking off this Sunday, and hopefully the weather holds off for us on that. But guys, if you are a match director and you want to reach out to Kenny, he's offering up some help there for you. So appreciate that, Kenny. I really do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Very cool.
Great.
What about you, George?
Got a lot shooting coming up as soon as the dang wind quits. Got a lot to do with the 40X switch barrel. Again, got a lot of 22 shooting I got to do. I've got that Winchester 75. I still got it. Can't get rid of it. So I'm going to do that little barrel tuner thing on the end of it. I'll do a video on adjusting it, see if it does any good or not. We've got a match, Buck Creek. We've got a 400 and 500 yard groundhog match, April 5th. Nothing don't happen, and that'll be my first competition I'm shooting this year anyway. Y'all come to it.
Do you need some extra groundhogs? I can ship some to you.
Yeah, ship them up here. We like to kill them.
Yeah, Justin and we need to come down and shoot with you, because we're only a couple hours away from you. So
yeah,
definitely a trip we need to make.
it is.
You Hasbro.
Hey, you got to try.
Hasbro's supposed to come to Kentucky also and shoot.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to happen. Yeah. So for me, tomorrow night, thanks to Hillbilly, 2/3 of the people in this room have a chance to win.
Actually, gun season is coming to a close.
50%, because I'm taking myself out of the prizes. But the BB gun contest for St. Patrick's Day, well, it wasn't just BB gun, it was 22 rifle as well, is done. And so I'm just going to be cutting some cans and shooting other people's targets and other contests for a little while. I had fun today, though. I did a can cutting thing, and that's one I just threw out there for just a fun challenge. That take 50 shots and see if you can cut a soda can in half. And I did it in 34. I didn't think it was possible. So we'll see. I don't know if that's good or bad. Next time I'll take a 50 cal out and do it. So maybe that'll be easier. Anyway, that's what I coming up tomorrow night. We're going to give away all these prizes, and then I'm going to take a little contest break from me running it, and then shoot everybody else's.
Yep. guys, don't forget that target that's out right now.
Smash them here a little bit.
By me and American Hillbilly.
I've got that.
We need to keep boosting our buddy Elijah up at Day at the Range. I'm missing seeing his videos coming out on a weekly basis, and I hope he's still on the mend. I haven't heard anything from him in a few days, but guys, go over to hasbroshide.com and pull that March Madness target off and shoot that thing and video it and share it and tag Day at the Range in it. And if you can't video it or you don't have the means to video it, just shoot it and take a picture of it and email it to me. And we'll be sure that Elijah gets to see all the people that participated. And I shot one, had a horrible score, so I mean, and I even put it up. So I'm sure he got a big laugh out of me failing. Put it back up there, Hasbro. I'll blow you up there.
Okay. This is one I didn't turn in because I kind of messed up the range video, but that's with a 1022 and really high wind.
Nice.
That gun just hammers. And so when the wind dies, I'll shoot it again. But that's the target. It's just really fun. You guys did a good job on that. It's a lot of fun.
So also in support of Elijah, you guys need to check out Mike here and go over to his channel at mnshootingsports.com, and that is his challenge target for Elijah. And guys, just shoot these things and tag him in them. He's watching them. He likes them, and he's made comments about how much we're making him laugh, and we almost put him back in the hospital for busting his stitches and whatnot. So just continue to shoot those in support of our buddy over there as he's on the mend. And I appreciate everybody that's done so far. We're going to try to do it at our match this Sunday once we get the he's already printed one off right there. He's ready. After our match is complete on Sunday, we're going to try to get all of our shooters at the match to shoot the challenge targets for Elijah, and I might try to get a little footage of that as well. So, Hillbilly, what about you, buddy? What you got coming up?
Man, we got Guns Bearing Therapy coming up tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, and it'll be a fun night. Like I said, Hasbro are doing his giveaway there, and of course we always have a giveaway every Saturday night. So if you ain't done nothing, swing by and visit us. Have a good time with us. We try to have a good time every Saturday night. Got some videos coming up. Pretty much running out of the videos because it's been so dang windy outside. I mean, it don't, like, even shooting it don't matter. The wind's so bad that, like, just trying to talk into the camera is just, even with a dead cat on it, it's just terrible. It's been so windy. So hopefully that, March winds will die down, and we'll be looking at March winds, springs, or how's it go? March winds, April showers, and then bring May flowers. So we'll probably be looking at rain next, if it goes like that. So anyway, man, have a good time, man. Thanks for doing this, Chad. This is a blast. Always
hey, Hillbilly.
Great channel, great side chat. Yeah.
Let me mention something real quick. We mentioned the stuff that we're going to give away for those that shot the contest, but we also have prizes for everybody that shows up in Hillbilly's chat. Mm-hmm. So if y'all are not going to Hillbilly's show tomorrow night, do it, because you have another chance of winning his prizes, and we're going to throw in a few extras as well. So
yeah. All right. Fun.
So, Rimfire Dave says, y'all did a good job tonight. Very good job. Rimfire Dave was in the panel earlier, but he's had some technical difficulties with being able to hear us, and he tried watching through his TV and had some feedback, so he just chose to get off. I will be talking to him. Hillbilly, maybe you got some suggestions on something he can do to be able to hear us better and stay on the StreamYard side of things. So I'd love to get him back on here because he is packed full of knowledge when it comes to this type of stuff. And John Fox is Lead Forever dash T1X, and it's a dead giveaway of what kind of rifle he's shooting, but it's a pretty good shooter from what I've heard. He's went down and visited with No Pro, and No Pro told me that it's a good shooting rifle. So, Justin, what you got going on? You
Well,
got a match coming up, and you're going to shoot some challenge targets, right?
Yep, exactly. Hoping Sunday's better weather. Just hope that wind will finally lay down and let us get a match in. We missed out on last weekend, and it's putting us back to back on weekends here on matches, but that's fine too.
So
hoping to get out and shoot some.
let me see if I can do something here right quick before we jump off. See if I got no. Anyways, Justin has a friend that's a machinist, and Justin is also a machinist, and Justin's friend has designed his own front rest, which is a joystick rest. It's a very high quality build. Justin and we videoed it today. I have to edit that and get that out. We're call it the Carpenter rest because the guy's last name is Carpenter. So, not discussing the final price on it yet, but if you like a joystick style rest, this is going to be a good rest for a good price. And just stay tuned to my channel. I'm going to be releasing that pretty soon. And those will be available through Justin. You'll be able to contact Justin, and his email will be named in the video that we made. You'll be able to email Justin directly if you got any questions about the rest or how to get one. I will be getting one myself. It's kind of like my Caldwell Control Fire, and Justin, you said it was a copy of
Kind of a Farley, I think.
It's like a Farley rest.
Yeah.
And man, we done our video session on it today, and it is smooth. Like you can, once you get it set up and everything, that joystick, you can manipulate a whole USB R card, and all you're moving is that joystick. And it's a very, very nice rest, and very, very high quality built. The base and stuff he coated with Duracoat, so it ought to last pretty well. But stay tuned for that. We're going to be doing that product review, and you'll be able to get with Justin and see how to get one if you want one. So, guys,
That'd be cool.
I appreciate everybody getting on here. I appreciate the panel for sharing the knowledge. I appreciate guys like Cyclops Joe and Kenny from Desert Precision Gunworks getting on here and taking the time to spend the night here with us. Guys, we'll see you again next Friday night with another topic here on Let's Talk Benchrest with Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Say good night, everybody.
Night, all.
Good night.
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 Say good night.
Night, night.
Night.
Good night, John boy.
Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me